Today I'm asking the question, can you remember your past lives in your dreams? So, yes, I'll tell you right off. Yes, you can remember your past lives in your dreams. There's a good chance you've already dreamt about a past life and didn't even realize it. So, today I'm going to talk about 5 indications in a dream that it could be a past life. And while I'm giving these pointers, think about dreams you've had that may or may not fulfill these criteria. By the way, there's also going to be a bonus point at the end, a sixth one. So keep watching till then because this one could very well be the most important one. So to begin, let's start with something that's really easy and obvious. Number one, in your dream, what kind of clothes are you wearing? Because I am going to compare what a regular dream is compared to a past life dream. And in a regular dream, you're going to be wearing the kind of clothes we wear now. And you don't even think, oh, this is a special kind of costume. But in past lives, people wore very different clothes. I mean, to begin with, they did not have the range of fabrics we have. We have these man made fabrics like polyesters, and they only had things like cotton and silk and wool. And that meant that their clothes were sometimes scratchier and also, they didn't have electric sewing machines. They just didn't have the kind of technology we have to make clothes. Plus, in the past times, of course, women most of the time had long skirts, or in many past lives, recent 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, people were wearing long dresses. And men actually didn't wear the kind of pants men do nowadays. They wore breeches, I think they're called. Anyway, they would go to the knees, and there might be a silver buckle there on the knee. And then they would have like stockings, white or different colors up to the knee. And they didn't have a fly the way men's pants do now. They would have buttons. So, right away, if in your dream the people are not wearing the kind of clothes we wear now, you know or you suspect you're dealing with a past life dream. Now, the same thing with hair, which should be obvious. This is the kind of hair we have now. We have a lot of cut hair. You go to the hairdresser or the barber and you get your hair cut. Well, in those long ago days, women usually had very long hair and they braided it at night so it wouldn't tangle up. And then in the daytime, it would be put up in these styles with maybe ringlets coming down. If they were in the aristocracy or the rich. And the poorer people had long hair as well, that maybe they would just braid and put a tie, not a rubber band. They didn't have rubber bands, but they would tie something. But the men also had longer hair that they might pull back here and then have like a leather tongue that held their hair in place. And think of the kind of hats people wore in the olden days. And of course, now I'm thinking in terms of Western dress, but women almost always wore a hat. Men had different kinds of hats. I mean, there were even those tricorn hats at some point. So if in your dream people are dressed in a very different way than they are now, that's an indication that you just could be dealing with a past life dream. Now, the next point has to do with the environment. So let's go with the obvious there. In our dreams, you know, people are driving cars, they are on planes, they're going across suspension bridges in their dreams. That is a regular dream. However, if in your dream you're dreaming there are no skyscrapers, there are no cars, there are horses and buggies, people are riding horses, people are carrying their firewood or whatever on their backs. Nowadays, we have, like I said, most of the time we've got a car that takes us wherever we go. So if in your dream, people, especially, are walking a lot, we just don't realize how much people used to walk in the olden times. I mean, I think the sort of the average amount that a person can walk in a day is 15 miles. So somebody might walk 5 miles to go from one place to another and wouldn't think that it was strange. Now, the other thing about the environment, you can't assume that your past life is going to be about whatever culture you are in, because in our past lives, we are different cultures in different environments in different countries. So even though I may be in North America in this lifetime, in a past lifetime, I might have been in China and I would have dressed like a Chinese person. And if I was very wealthy, then I would have a long dress and jewels and all the things the rich had. But most people, most women would have worn a type of pant with a tunic over it. And that was the way people were dressed in that culture in that time. So the third item to look at in your dream, I've already sort of alluded to it. What kind of vehicles are people using? Well, obviously, there aren't going to be cars or aircraft carriers or jets or anything like that. In fact, if there's going to be a ship in the sea, it could be a four-masted schooner. Or if you're in another culture, say in Africa, in a past lifetime in Africa, it might be in a dugout canoe. If you're in North America, in a past life among the First Nations, Native American people, then you might be in a birch bark canoe. And these are indications by the kind of vehicles you're dealing with in these past life dreams that will say to you, oh, that's probably a past life dream. In our dream, all these things I've talked about, hair, clothes, vehicles, were involved with all of those in a dream about our present life. But if it's about a past life, you may be doing something that people don't do nowadays. For example, there were no sewing machines, so women spent huge amount of time embroidering things, and they sewed by hand. This is even before the trestle, I think it's called, sewing machine. So if you were a woman in the upper aristocracy, you'd spend a lot of your time doing needlework and things like that, because I mean, you didn't have a TV to watch, did you? So if in your dream you are sewing by hand and you're a woman, if you're a man and you're in the stable, if you're working with the blacksmith, if you're, and now, yes, we have horse racing. And if you are someone in your waking life who deals with horses, you have a stock farm or you have a ranch, well, you might dream about that. But if in your waking life you're working in a city somewhere, have nothing to do with horses, and you're dreaming about wearing leather breeches that cut off at the knee and have it, talking, well, we seldom talk much in our dreams, but are dealing with handmade saddles, then consider that this might be a past life dream. So, as far as what you're doing, to begin, it wouldn't be anything to do with the modern world. You wouldn't be watching TV, you wouldn't be listening to a radio, you wouldn't be checking your phone. None of this in a past life dream. Now, these last 2 points, I think we are at 5 and 6 now. This has to do, these are quite important, and they are number 5, I guess, that the dream is about a story. Because remember, it's a memory. Most dreams are fragments, and these are regular dreams in comparison to a past life dream. Most dreams are snippets and fragments of activities. So I have a lot of people who write to me with their bridge dreams, because I've made a lot of videos about bridge dreams, because I have bridge dreams. And I like to talk about bridge dreams because they have a lot to do with making decisions. So if you have a regular kind of dream and there's a bridge in it, you may be crossing the bridge in a car, you may be walking, you may be crawling. As you go along, the bridge may start to shake, or it falls apart, or you're over on the edge, almost going over. There's all these things going on in a regular kind of dream that don't really happen in real life. While you're crossing a bridge, it doesn't start breaking up under you. It doesn't start to shake. You aren't in normal, regular dreams. People are leaping off bridges. That means you didn't go through with the decision you made, that type of thing. So those are indications of a regular kind of dream. But if you are dreaming about a past life situation, it's, remember, a memory. So say there is a bridge, but now there's a story to it. You are at the bridge. You are waiting because a boat is supposed to come by with your husband. He's been out fishing or something, and he should be back by now. And you're concerned because the kids are with you, they're getting unruly, you've been waiting a long time. There are other wives waiting also for their husbands. Everyone else's husband has returned, and yours is still not back. And you have great anxiety. What's happened to him? And you look down the river. You look over down the river to the ocean, and you don't see his boat. And you are really concerned. So this is more of a story now. Do you see the difference? It's not just, it's something that really could happen. It's almost like something you see in a movie. So it's something that could happen. Now, here is the 6th bonus point. Almost always a past life dream has to do with some kind of trauma, something that invokes anxiety, because why else have you remembered it this long into this life? Why is it still there in your subconscious mind? Almost always something has happened in your past that is unresolved and you're dreaming about it. So if we take this about the woman who's waiting there by the bridge where the boats pull up at this dock from men who are coming in from fishing, and her husband's not among them. And then one of the men who has come ashore comes over to you, you're now the dreamer, comes over to you and says, I hate to tell you this, but your husband, Isaiah, whatever his name is, he went overboard and we couldn't get to him and he drowned. Well, that's an anxiety provoking situation. And that would be something that it's not unusual to remember it in this lifetime. So those are your main points. First, you look at the environment. Is it different than your present environment? Secondly, look at the kind of vehicles you're dealing with. Are they not modern or are they just old types of vehicles? And are you mainly walking in that dream? Third is, I'm looking at my notes here, clothing and hair. Are you and the other people in your dream wearing old-fashioned clothes? Or if you're in another country, the clothes of another country long ago? Fourth, what are you doing? Are you doing something that people don't do anymore because they don't have to, because there's machines that can, technology doing that kind of thing, such as you don't have to make dresses by hand anymore. Finally, number five, is this dream like a story? Because remember, it's a memory. So it's going to have a feeling of something like when you watch a movie, a part of a movie. And then the bonus point, number 6, is there anxiety in the dream? Is it a past life dream is often very vivid, very vivid, vivid in color, because you're right there. It's not just these like vague things like in most dreams. Vivid color, vivid feelings, and vivid people. So that is my summary. And now I'm looking over here on my questions. And I see Vadzimu Records has asked, I dreamed of past lives when I was very young of Atlantis. And he also says in Dharmic traditions like Buddhism and Hinduism, a lot of our dream content comes from karma. Some of this past life's karma and some present life. Well, that's very helpful and that makes sense because, like I was saying earlier, one of the indications of a past life dream, and maybe one of the most important ones, was with that it's like a story, is that there's this trauma that you're dealing with. And that's just what Vadzimu Record says. And I know who this is. It's Martin. Hello, Martin. So great to see you here. And thanks so much about making those comments. And you know, I'm going to make another video in the future about dreaming of past lives in Atlantis. And I just felt that that was such a huge topic that I would leave it for a separate live stream.